back home, and a big family hug for the husband and father who survived a killer virus.
This might not have happened. So a week and a half ago it was 50-50, but I'm so thankful I'm here with my family and I love hugging them.
Ow.
For 3 weeks, firefighter Steve Landon was in and out of intensive care. He and his wife, paediatric nurse Becky, both contracted coronavirus, but while she recovered, he ended up fighting for his life.
There was definitely at least 2 vivid occasions while on the ICU where I thought, this is it, my time has come. As a firefighter, you're trained to stay calm in all situations, and obviously we're put through our paces, and in my job I've been through quite risky and scary situations, but nothing like what I've been through having this coronavirus, where you're fighting for your life, you're gasping for oxygen, and it's like you're suffocating, and panic does set in.
And as he recovered at the first opportunity, he thanked those who'd saved his life.
Becky has been amazing, very supportive, looking after the kids. What a wife. But I do have to say a massive thank you to the NHS staff who have been my family when I haven't been with mine. Sorry. If it weren't for them, I can honestly say I wouldn't be here.
His family never gave up hope, but the worry was always there.
Obviously, I was worried about Stephen. It would go through my mind, obviously, was he coming home? How do I cope being a mum with no dad around? All those things. But I had to keep being positive, keep believing that he would be coming home for me and for the children. But there were definitely times where I wasn't sure. But I had to kind of just, like I said, keep being positive and keep knowing that I knew he had the best care he could have. And I just had to keep believing that would be enough to pull him through.
One particular occasion in particular where, like I said, I thought my time had come. And the most amazing thing was that actually pulled me through that was I had this CPAP mask on. I remember gasping and not being able to breathe. And yet the thing that pulled me through, a nurse came over to me and he just grabbed my hand, held my hand, he put his arm around me and he rubbed my back and he said, "You're going to be okay." And that just does words of affirmation, the physical contact, that pulled me through.
Steve and Becky's children now certainly appreciate the risks being taken by NHS staff to save lives.
I think they're very brave. I think that what they do, we need people to do it, and them doing it is very brave and very good of them to do it.
We need to see people come out of this and survive and just give thanks and say, look, yeah, I pulled through, I'm back with my family, people do pull through, and there is a happy ending.
Ian Lang, ITV News.
What are your memories of it all?
Well, I first remember just having like flu-like symptoms and then just getting worse and worse, and I think by day 5 I was lying on the couch and I could barely move. And I remember actually going to the toilet in the night and collapsing, and that's when I thought, oh, something's seriously wrong here. Being a firefighter and thinking I'm tough, I thought, oh, I'll get over it. But it was my wife who came to see me the next morning and thought, you need an ambulance, you're not well. So it was her actually that called the ambulance. And obviously when they came, they were like, yeah, you're sat to really low, you need to come in. And I had a temperature of 40 or something. But some of it is a bit of a blur being on the ICU. I think I was that unwell, I can't actually remember all of it. And I can remember, we have these CPAP masks. They're really tight, they're quite claustrophobic, and they force air into your lungs, and it's quite uncomfortable. But that's what I needed at the time. There was definitely at least 2 vivid occasions while on the ICU where I thought, this is it, my time has come. And that was, I mean, as a firefighter.
Sorry.
So go on.
Al, can you please, Al, interview it. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's fine.
Noise. Sorry, again, you were saying it was a time when...
Yeah, I mean, as a firefighter, you're trained to stay calm in all situations, and obviously we're put through our paces, and in my job I've been through quite risky and scary situations, but nothing like what I've been through having this coronavirus, where you're fighting for your life, you're gasping for oxygen, and it's like you're suffocating, and panic does set in. One particular occasion in particular, where, like I said, I thought my time had come, and the most amazing thing was that actually pulled me through that was I had this CPAP mask on. I remember gasping and not being able to breathe, and yet the thing that pulled me through, a nurse came over to me, and he just grabbed my hand, held my hand, he put his arm around me, and he rubbed my back, and he said, "You're going to be okay." And that, just those words of affirmation, the physical contact, that pulled me through. Yeah. Just having that, and that was a vivid moment that I'll never forget. And it just proves how amazing the NHS staff are, not just for their medical expertise, but their passion, their care, their love for the patients. It's outstanding. So,
did you ever, this thing, isn't it, that strikes me? It started off as it was a horrible. To start off as horrible. They say it's something that affects old people. You're about as fit as you can get, and you clearly thought it was never going to happen to you.
Yeah, but both me and my wife were like, if we get it, we'll be fine. I mean, I get tested regularly in the fire service for my fitness, and not to be big-headed, but I'm always very high with my fitness. I train every day. The guys I work with, the crew I work with at D-Side Blue Watch, we're all fit guys. We're very competitive. We're in the gym all the time, inside and outside of work. And even they were quite shocked, of all people, how this virus had got me and really attacked me the way it had. So it just goes to show nobody's safe. You can be as fit as anything, and yet it attacks people differently. So, as my wife said, she recovered after about a week and she was okay, whereas I just went downhill.
Yeah, we spoke yesterday about it. When was that moment that you thought, I'm through this?
It was actually, I'm losing track of days actually. It was Sunday. It was Sunday evening. Sunday evening. It was. I was on 8 litres of oxygen in the morning, and I was able to walk to the toilet with oxygen in the hospital, but still very much out of breath. But miraculously, by the evening, I was on no oxygen. I could walk to the toilet without oxygen, still out of breath, but it was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting over this. That was the turning point Sunday evening.
Because there was a time when it was touch and go.
Definitely, yeah. So when, like my wife said, I'd been back and forth to the ICU unit 3 times. And even the doctors were saying, when my wife picked me up, actually, one of the nurses and doctors said, he's lucky to be leaving. And one of the doctors said to me, probably my fitness actually saved my life. If I wasn't as fit as I was, it would have been a different story. So fitness does actually play a big part of it. And obviously if you have underlying issues. Now, I don't really have any underlying issues. As a child, I had very mild asthma, but that's never affected me in my adult life. So
I think your determination and his strength to fight it as well, I think, made a big difference.
Should we turn when you speak, could I turn the computer slightly towards you, because I'm just getting, I can't even, move in. There we are, that's better. Did you say that? People move in, it's just really hug time. It's hug time, everybody. So you were saying what made the difference, determination?
Well, I think it's determination and strength of character as well to fight it. I think there was only one moment where you thought maybe you'd lost the fight, but felt other people around him fighting it for him. But I do think that made a difference as well. Yeah.
Yeah, to reiterate what Becky said, yeah, there was one moment I felt like I'd lost the battle. And in fact, I think it was other people, knowing that other people were praying for me and the amount of support I've had from so many people, I think that pulled me through. Because, like I said, I felt like I'd lost the battle and I was relying on friends, family support, on the NHS staff to pull me through because I had nothing left, no physical strength.
How are you feeling now?
Well, emotionally, I feel a lot better. Physically, I'm still very weak. So I'm still a bit out of breath now talking, and it's still like walking to the toilet is like running a marathon, and I have to really pace myself. But it's just good to be home, and that in itself is medicine. But I've got a long road ahead to recovery. I had an X-ray just before I left, and I do have some scarring on my lungs, which is going to be followed up by the consultants there. But it's all new to everyone, so they've no idea how long the healing's going to take and if I'm going to heal. But I'm quite confident I will. And as Becky said, I'm determined to get better for my family. I love my job as well, and I can't wait to get back to work, to be honest. So.
Yeah. But the thing is, you know, I'm a family man. You're together again.
Yeah, and that is a massive healing process. Just being with my wife and kids, it feels so good, and that in itself is medicine. So it's so good to be home. Yeah.
It is. And again, it's this. We spoke yesterday. It's trying to get it through to people because you still see it, don't you? I mean, most people have got the idea, but just how deadly this thing is and how easy it is to catch. Don't think it's not going to happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure where I caught it from, but I know for a fact that anyone can get it from anywhere, and I think it's just so important that this virus is a killer, and it's so new to everyone. It spreads so easily, and people need to realise the importance of staying home saves lives. It just needs to be really sunk into people's heads that nobody's safe. Nobody is safe from this, and they need to stay home to protect the NHS and to save lives. And it's not how they feel. They might get it and they might be all right, but it's other people because it does spread so easily. People need to stay home to save other people.
And ask your kids. Can I ask your kids now? What's it like to have your dad back? Have you got any volunteers to talk? Any volunteers to say what it's like to have your dad back?
It's really good having Dad back because we were all missing him, but it's much better now that he's back.
What can I ask you? What was it like for you as kids when all this was going on?
It was very different because.
Could you move into the screen? Because I'm just getting your voice. There we are. So what was it like when all this? A very frightening time for you, I would assume.
Yeah, because we've never seen Dad like this. Like, it was just didn't seem real, really. Like.
And what were your thoughts? I mean, what were your fears when he was not at home with you? What were your worries? What did you wake up every day and worry about?
Just like, is he okay? And will he when will he get better? So, yeah.
And what do you, as young people, think about the NHS? Because sometimes older people like myself, my daughter's a nurse, your mum's a nurse. We know how important it is. But as you kids of your generation, how has it changed your perspective of the people who work in the NHS, all of you?
I like the NHS anyway because I knew they protected us, and I know NHS is one of the best things about this country because some other places don't have it. But I've always really liked the NHS, and I think it's a brilliant thing.
What do you think about the people who are on the front line as young people? What do you think about the work that they do?
I think they're very brave, and I think that what they do, we need people to do it, and them doing it is very brave and very good of them to do it.
And as a mum, I mean, I spoke to this yesterday. For you, you sort of had to take over the leadership. What was that like? Hard, you know, you had him to worry about. You had the kids. What you know, what was going through your mind?
Well, I think there was lots of things going through my mind. I think obviously I was worried about Stephen. Would go through my mind. Obviously, was he coming home? How do I cope being a mum with no dad around? You know, all those things. But I had to keep being positive, keep believing that he would be coming home for me and for the children. But there were definitely times where I wasn't sure. But then I had to kind of just, yeah, like I said, keep being positive and keep knowing that I knew he had the best care he could have. And I just had to keep believing that would be enough to pull him through. Yeah.
And do you see that people? I mean, people, like I said, people support. You're a nurse. Do you think people have finally got it now? Just how important the NHS is and the job that you do.
I think people are getting it more. I still think there's people out there who maybe don't quite understand. I still see remarks of things like, well, it's their job, that's what they do, that's what they're paid to do. You know, I still see those kind of comments, but I mean, I don't let it bother me. I do it. I love my job. I've always loved my job as a nurse, and I think as a nurse you do it because you love your job. You know, I think it's a calling and it's a passion, and I've always loved it. So this would have never put me off. It wouldn't stop me doing it. But yeah, there are some absolutely amazing people out there, my colleagues, and you know, all the NHS staff are just heroes.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them, without a shadow of a doubt. So, yeah.
And for you, it has been. You said, you know, it has been an absolute roller coaster, isn't it? For you as a family.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's been so up and down with the going in and out of intensive care. You know, at first he seemed to be getting better and then he'd get worse. But I think that's how this virus works.
Yeah.
From speaking to other medical staff and doctors, they said that's what they see. It is this up and down. It seems like you're getting better and then you're back down again. It does seem to be the pattern of this virus. So it is a roller coaster of emotions as well. Yeah.
So what's the plan? It's basically just a recovery thing now, is it? Because you can't go anywhere, can you?
No. I mean, it's nice. Yeah, so at least I'm at home recovering with my family. So having a cup of tea with my wife and kids this morning was just so nice. I can recover. It's going to be a long process, but I can recover at home, and you know, we can just get through this together.
I think it makes you realise what's important in life.
Yeah.
You know, some things that maybe we thought were important before maybe aren't so important now. Definitely puts a new perspective on life, and you just think how important your family is, and other things just aren't important.
Do you see that? You think it will change our culture? I mean, it's a bad thing, isn't it? It's a horrible thing. But
it
in
is.
a sense, it will change people's attitudes. I mean, you've been right at the centre of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think it's got to. Yeah. I think this thing has been so big worldwide that people, you know, it's got to change people's mindset. And people I think people are realising how important family is, how important community is, how important it is to be with each other. The fact that we're not allowed to be with each other, with grandparents and friends, that actually family and friendships are important. Socialising is important. And working together as a community is crucial. So I think when this is all over, at some point, people are going to come out thinking, yeah, we do need to band together. We do need to look after each other. And that's what I'm hoping, you know.
I mean, it's a huge thing I mean, we could never have dreamt the horror of it all. It's the sort of thing that changes you as a person, both of you and even the kids. Do you think that it changes you as people?
We've always had a good outlook on life anyway, I believe, but it reiterates the importance of family, and just
it puts things into perspective.
It does, yeah.
You know, your big house and your posh car is not going to save you, is it?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's your family and your support, and you know, those key people in our country. That's what's going to save us now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think as a country, maybe we need to look at what's important as well.
Yeah,
definitely. I think we all need to reassess maybe what life's about a little bit. But yeah, it will change us, definitely. Yeah.
It must be tough. You've obviously got grandparents and things like that. they must want to come in and give you a big hug.
Yeah, they've been videoing me, WhatsApping me whenever they can, most days. And my mum in particular, she's a very huggy person. And she keeps saying, "Oh, I can't wait to hug you all, and I miss you all so much." I mean, it's nice with modern technology that we can do this, but there's nothing better than having a hug from family. So, yeah.
And what is good, I mean, you've been through a horrible experience, but this is a survivor's story. We need these survivor stories, don't we? Because so many people are dying.
I mean, that is the drastic sadness of this disease, and all you hear in the news is so many hundred people have died today. But we do need to see people come out of this and survive, and just give thanks and say, look, yeah, I pulled through. I'm back with my family. People do pull through, and there is a happy ending. So yeah.
That's a great interview.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, I just want to check some technical things here. You never actually went on a respirator then. You never got to that point, but your lung collapsed.
My lung collapsed.
Situation.
Yeah. So I was close to being put on a respirator, and it was an umming and ahhing whether I needed to go on it.
You went on CPAP, which is
like one
supportive, yeah. Well,
yeah.
CPAP, which is supportive, so it's a high-pressured oxygen. It's kind of one step before a ventilator. So we were on 100% oxygen on that at one point. So there was a couple of times where they said, it could go either way.
Yeah. And on the ward that I was in, I saw people on respirators, in beds opposite to me. It's not a pretty sight. And it really makes you thankful for your life when you see these people on respirators, and there's not many people who are on that come off. It's sad. It's a lonely diseased virus to have, and it's frightening. But so I had to have a what was it?
Chest drain, pneumothorax.
Chest drain. So my lung did collapse because of the coronavirus, and it's not a pretty thing, and it's quite painful. I've got a needle phobia, and the needle they had to put was massive. So this big needle had to go in between my ribs into the lungs, and then the worst part was the tubing. So you felt the tubing being fed through, and then
torture.
It was horrible. Yeah, and then obviously once they've done that, I mean, obviously it was to save my life. When you cough, the pain is excruciating. So they did give me morphine on a regular basis. Yeah.
But as you said, it's a treatment you get. But this thing I don't think many people realise is that what the nursing and the medical profession do. It's the care. Like I said, you said they became your family.
Yes, they were amazing. So they get to know your name, and obviously when I was on the ICU, you've got a nurse with you 24/7 because you need that amount of care. The amount of effort that the consultants, doctors, nurses, health visitors, even the cleaners put into you, it's a massive team just for one person. But yet they talk to you like you're part of the family. They look after you. They care for you. They're passionate, every single one of them, about their job and about what they do. And I've got to say, they're overworked and they're underpaid, and they need to be appreciated. And it's great giving them a clap, but what they need is a pay rise, without a shadow of a doubt. They should be paid for what they do. Accordingly.
I hope that's one thing that comes out of this. I know what my daughter works on the neuro ward, and I know the work that understaffed, underfunded, as a trainee nurse, being on a ward with her as a trainee nurse with 2 auxiliaries, in charge of about 20 people.
Yeah.
I've learned about actually what's going on, and it needs a turnaround. It needs standing on its head, doesn't it?
It does.
And I think even under that pressure, though, they were very quick to pick up on any deterioration, or any issues, or anything that, like the lung collapse and everything was picked up very quickly and dealt with very quickly. So the care was just outstanding.
Phenomenal, But the other thing as well, I mean, it's so scary for those staff because they're working in a hostile environment, and they are putting their lives at risk because they're working with people that have this highly contagious virus. And you know, when you watch them, the PPE that they have to put on every time, and it's uncomfortable. They wear a lot of this equipment every time they come into the environment with us, and it's not 100% safe. And they have families they've got to go home to. You know, it's scary for them, and they are putting their lives on the line. And we've heard in the news, and I've heard recently, there are staff who have been working on the front line in ICU on these wards who have lost their lives caring for people like me. They're not thanked enough. They need a big paycheck. That's the way we need to thank them.
That's right. I'm going to use that clip.
Yeah.
It'll be controversial, but yeah, I think it's right. You know, that without them, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having
I would not be here if it weren't for them. Yeah. If it weren't for them, I can 100% say I would not be here today. They've saved my life. So I can't thank them enough. You know, I'd even be tempted to change my job to work with them to say thank you. But I do love my job too much. I've got it good as a firefighter, and I love my job.
You love your job. You've got to be in a job you love. That's great. What I'm trying to do, is there any chance I could have a big family hug? So we used to do with the kids when they were little. Big family hug. Is that all right with the teenagers there? Is that not cool?
We're gonna have a hug for the TV.
Can we have a big? I just want to. It's how I summarise it in pictures. You see, all together.
Come in, sir.
Everybody having a big family hug.
Come in. That's it. Come in.
You've got to like hug somebody. You've got to look at
Oh, how can I do
There
this?
we are. I mean, that's right. This is the family hug, which is precious because you thought you might not have had it.
Yeah.
Look at that smile. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice having my family around me. And as I said before, this might not have happened. So a week and a half ago, it was 50-50, but I'm so thankful I'm here with my family, and I love hugging them.
Ow.
So,
Excellent.
thank you.
Excellent. We're done. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully some good will come of it.
My task now is to edit it. Put it all together. I can take. There's some photographs on the internet I can take, aren't there?
Yeah,
I
that's
can take
fine.
the photographs. Use something. I've got sort of stuff. I'll use a bit of you in hospital with your message to sort of help tell the story. So it should be good. And you spoke very well. You know, thank you very much, because I know you can't be feeling 100% yet.
No, I'm still quite breathless, but
I was a bit worried. I'm a bit worried interviewing you. I'm like, oh.
no.
You can go and lie down. Who's on the T rotor then?
Yeah, me constantly, I
What
think.
about the kids? The kids have to be on the T rotor, surely.
No, Becky's been amazing. So
He's got his own personal nurse now.
I have.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know to abuse her, but Becky's been great. It's only been one day, but already she's proven her worth.
But don't forget, there are always those fences that need painting.
Well,
She does have a list of things for me to do when I'm
There's
better.
painting, there's a bit on the roof to do, there's the grass.
Well, the thing is, though,
You need to get well
because
soon.
sorry,
You need to get well soon.
yeah.
I know. The thing is, though, I'm itching because I can see things that need doing because I'm so practical minded.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I need to do this, need to do that, but then
I won't let him.
you know I can barely
I'll
watch
leave you
it.
tap if you're good at plumbing.
Yeah, I've done the plumbing, but yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. I shall leave you to it now.
Oh, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
hope you like what I do later, but like I said, it's a very inspiring story, and it's an honour to have done it and spoken to you.
Oh, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank
All right,
you.
take care.
All right,
Bye
I'll
bye.
speak to you later. Okay, ta-ra.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Toodaloo.
Ta-ra.
Bye bye. Take care.